I'm a 27-year-old woman and my husband Adam is 31. We've been together for almost 6 years now, and it's been a really loving relationship. We met at work when I first started my job. Adam had been working there longer, so he knew the ropes and was really experienced. From the very beginning, he was super helpful to me and always looked out for me. Adam knew I didn't have a great family background. My parents were into drugs and didn't really take care of me. Growing up was tough. I had to fight for everything I wanted. I did all sorts of odd jobs to save up money for myself. When I went to college, I moved out of my parents' house and cut off contact with them. They would try to reach out to me sometimes, usually when they needed money, so I had to change my phone number and address a few times to stay away from them. I didn't want them finding me or causing more problems in my life. When I started working with Adam, he was so kind and sweet to me. I remember this one time I wore a shirt to work that had two small holes in it. I didn't notice the holes, but Adam did. He bought me a new shirt to change into so our coworkers wouldn't see the holes, especially when it rained or snowed. He also used to pick me up from my place, even though it was more than an hour away from his, because he knew I had to walk a lot to get to the bus. He didn't want me to struggle, so he went out of his way to help me. Sometimes I would skip lunch, not just to save money, but because I was used to not having enough to eat growing up. I never had 3 proper meals a day, so skipping meals became a habit. Adam noticed this and always brought me lunch. He would insist on eating with me to make sure I was properly fed. He wanted to make sure I was taken care of, and his kindness really touched my heart. He was so sweet to me, and it didn't take long for me to fall in love with him. Adam's kindness extended beyond just helping me at work. He was always there for me in so many ways. For example, when I had trouble with my car, he would help me fix it or drive me where I needed to go. He was very thoughtful and considerate. He remembered my birthday and other special occasions, always surprising me with little gifts or gestures to show he cared. We started dating, and our relationship grew stronger every day. Adam was always supportive of my dreams and goals. He encouraged me to pursue my passions and never let me feel down about my past. He believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. His family was also a big part of our relationship. They welcomed me with open arms and treated me like one of their own. I had never experienced such warmth and love from a family before, and it made me feel even closer to Adam. As we got more serious, we talked about our future together. We shared our dreams and made plans for our life together. We decided to get married, and our wedding day was one of the happiest days of my life. I felt so lucky to have found someone like Adam who loved me for who I was and made me feel so special. Living together as a married couple has been amazing. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but we've always worked through things together. Adam is always there to listen to me and support me no matter what. We've built a strong and loving relationship based on trust, respect, and care for each other. The only tricky part of our relationship has been dealing with Adam's family. They are nice people, but sometimes they can be a bit overbearing. They have strong opinions about how we should live our lives and what we should do. This has caused some tension, but Adam and I always communicate and make sure we are on the same page. We handle these challenges together and make sure our relationship remains strong. For some context, Adam comes from an exceptionally wealthy family, the sort of family where you have multiple cars, a vacation home, and you go for cruise vacations during the summer. He and his sister went to private school and never had to worry about paying anything in themselves. In fact, his dad has told him several times as to why he was even doing a job because the kind of money they have can set him up for life. But Adam insists that he likes his job and wants to live life with a purpose. Anyways, when Adam introduced me to his family, he had told me that they can be cold and unwelcoming, but they would eventually warm up to me. I went to meet them for the first time. Keeping this in mind, I wore my best dress and heels and made sure to present myself in the most polite and respectful manner possible. His father greeted me politely, while his mother didn't even bother shaking my hand. His sister Sarah looked at me up and down and smirked as if I looked like a clown. I felt so humiliated, but I thought of what Adam had told me and let it slide. Throughout the evening, I tried my best to engage in conversation and to show genuine interest in their lives and interests. I complimented his mother's cooking and praised his father's choice of decor and his collected art pieces. However, every time I said something good about his art, his mother would scoff and comment something like his, "If someone like you would know anything about art." Now, I did grow up poor, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't interested in art. So her comments seriously hurt me. Adam would squeeze my hand every once in a while, pleading with me to keep my cool. When it came time for dinner, his mother insisted that I should be seated away from Adam since she and Sarah wanted to be near him. I sat next to father-in-law, and he was quite open-minded and polite, so we had a good conversation. Throughout the evening, Sarah and mother-in-law were fawning over Adam and completely ignoring me. The three of them were busy having conversations with each other. At one point, Sarah knowingly started talking about one of Adam's exes, whom she was still friends with. She said how the ex is apparently looking the best that she has ever looked and started showing Adam pictures of that girl in bikinis from their recent trip. Adam told his sister to stop, but Sarah laughed at his discomfort and told him that he could always slide into the ex's DMS if he wanted to, because apparently she still has a soft corner for him. I was growing increasingly uncomfortable, and I guess father-in-law noticed that too. So he asked Sarah to stop talking as well. However, his efforts were met with resistance from Adam's mother, who seemed to take offense at his interference. I was so uncomfortable with that whole family dynamics that when Adam excused himself from the table and asked me to come with him so he could show me his childhood room, I was grateful to escape the awkward situation. I followed Adam out of the dining room and up the stairs to his childhood sanctuary. Later in his room, Adam apologized to me about his sister. He told me that she had always been this way, even when they were growing up, and would always push him to date one of her friends, telling him how he should marry someone. Only she was comfortable with. I could sense that he was genuinely apologetic, so I let it go and informed him it was best that we left. He agreed. It wasn't until later, as we were saying our goodbyes, that Adam's father pulled me aside. His expression softened, and he admitted that he had been skeptical of me at first, but my sincerity and efforts to connect had won him over. He apologized for his initial coldness and assured me that I was welcome in their home any time. He told me to not take my mother-in-law's and Sarah's words to heart, and that he was happy. Adam had found someone like me. I felt relieved after hearing those words. Ever since then, I knew that it would take a lot of effort from me to impress my mother-in-law and sister-in-law if I ever wanted to be accepted by them. However, the situation never changed. As Adam's and my relationship progressed, his mother and sister would continuously dissuade him from dating me. I remember once for my birthday, Adam and I was supposed to go on the long drive to the beach where we would be having a romantic picnic. I was really excited to spend the day with him. However, in the morning, his sister called him, telling him how she needed to see him urgently since something had happened to her. He let me know, and I immediately asked him to go and visit her because we really believed her. However, it turns out she had just called him as a prank, and there was in fact nothing urgent. She insisted on him staying for the day, and when he refused, telling her that it was my birthday and he wanted to spend the day with me. She laughed and told him that it was exactly why she had called him. So he had an excuse to not spend the day with me. Adam was so pissed at her that he stopped talking to her for months after that. His sister would then angrily send me texts, calling me various names, and telling me that she wanted to kill me because I was coming in between her and her brother. I would, of course, show these messages to Adam, and this would make him more pissed. It was only later that year and Christmas after my mother-in-law intervened that Adam agreed to forgive Sarah. However, she never once apologized to me for all the harassment. When Sarah got married, young to her then-boyfriend Joe, she refused to invite me to her wedding, telling Adam how he could instead come to her event single and meet some of her friends. Adam refused to go without me, so in the end, she had no choice but to include me in the guest list for her wedding. I wore a long, pink floor-length dress that Adam and I had picked out for me since this was a grand event, and we were all supposed to dress well. He did tell me how incredibly beautiful I looked in doing my sister-in-law's event. Several other guests, including father-in-law, complimented me as well. Sarah later confronted me about how I had ruined her wedding by upstaging her, even though other guests also wore floor-length dresses. She yelled at me and Adam that I had knowingly dressed that way to get all the male attention. Adam tried to pacify her, telling her how that was not our intention, but Sarah refused to listen. She got even nastier to me after that incident over the years. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law have insulted my appearance, telling me that I look poor, calling me a fat pig. When I gained a couple of pounds, making fun of me and my family background in front of their family, friends and overall have never changed their distaste for me, no matter how much I have tried to stay polite. Hence, during the 4th year of my relationship with Adam, I stopped trying altogether as their behavior was starting to affect my self, confidence, and there were only so many shots I could take about my appearance. I had a long conversation with Adam and put my foot down. I stopped going with Adam for his family dinners or family events and never responded to sister-in-law and mother-in-law's messages anymore. I ignored them just the way they had ignored me over the years, and my mental health significantly improved. Adam understood and supported my decision, even though my mother-in-law told him that I was being disrespectful for not visiting them anymore and that I was not wifely enough to get married to. However, despite what his family thought. Last year, Adam proposed to me. The proposal was a moment of pure joy and love. He had prepared everything for the day and was so nervous when he popped the question. I had no doubt in my mind when I told him yes. Later, when he told his family about it, his father congratulated later this, while his mother simply told him that she hoped he had given this a lot of thought, otherwise he was going to regret it. Adam asked her to not be rude since she was on speaker, and then she begrudgingly congratulated me also. I guess she finally accepted that she had no choice and that I would be a part of her son's life moving forward. When Sarah found out she had a much more strong reaction, she apparently told Adam that he needed to get a prenup with me, telling him how poor people like me can suck the money out of anyone. That was not only offensive, but it shocked Adam as well about how low his sister thought about me. He told her firmly that if she didn't like the fact that he was getting married to me, then she was welcome to not attend Sarah. And he fought a bit more. And Sarah even called me a bloodthirsty gold digger. However, 2 days later, she sent me a text message apologizing to me for everything, and I thought maybe she and mother-in-law had talked and understood that there was nothing that she could say or do at this point to keep her brother away from me. I did tell Adam that I would be open to signing a prenup before our marriage, because I wasn't marrying him for the money. I was marrying him because he was kind and supportive of me. And that is all that I have wanted in my life. I had a good job and I was happy with what I had, so I didn't need anything more from him. Adam assured me that he knew my heart and he was never going to ask me to sign a prenup. As the wedding was approaching, I wanted to look my best, so I started to work out rigorously. I would sometimes post after gym selfies on my social media, and they were perfectly appropriate pictures. I never posted any racy pictures. However, one weekend, Adam came back home after his family dinner and told me how Sarah and his mom had told him that I must be cheating on him since I was knowingly posting all these pictures to get attention from other men. He went on to say how he stood up for me and told them that he didn't mind the pictures. But Sarah told him that this is how women start to cheat on their partners, which then made him think. He asked me up front if I was cheating on him, and I was taken aback by his question. I firmly told him no, and how I was even offended that he would ask me such a question. He started to apologize to me and told me how his sister and mother got into his head, and he never would have questioned me otherwise. To give some context, my account is private, and I have more female followers in my account than male. So to this day, I have no idea. Why would mother-in-law and Sarah even say something like that to Adam during the wedding? Mother-in-law and Sarah did everything that they could to cause even more issues. Sarah kept saying how she wanted to be a bridesmaid, but I refused point blank. So then mother-in-law called me and chastised me for not including Sarah and how bad it would look to the family. I pointed out to her that Sarah never included me in her wedding party either, but she told me that Sarah is going to be my sister-in-law, so I have to include her. Otherwise, she would not be paying for our wedding. This led to a huge fight. When I told Adam everything, he talked with father-in-law, who assured us that it was his money and mother-in-law had no say in our wedding whatsoever. I can only imagine mother-in-law's face and how she must have felt when she would have learned that her attempt to manipulate our wedding plans had failed. Our wedding happened after this without any more incidents or interference by sister-in-law, mother-in-law. Adam and I are still going strong, and I thought everything was good between us. However, something has happened recently that has made me question everything. I never thought I would find myself in this situation. It all started when I found out 3 months ago that I was pregnant with twins. Adam was as pleasantly surprised as me. We were both filled with excitement and happiness. We had been trying for a baby ever since we got married, and the news of not just one but 2 little ones on the way felt like a dream come true. Adam insisted on having a family get-together where he would announce my pregnancy, even though I wanted something low-key. I understood his excitement of becoming a father, so I agreed. When Adam and I announced I was pregnant during the party, everyone immediately came over to hug us and congratulate us. However, sister-in-law and mother-in-law look pissed and stand daggers at me. For context, Sarah got married before us, so she has been trying to get pregnant for a long time. However, I have heard from Adam that she is infertile and basically barren. She and her husband Joe have tried everything but to no success. Adam, Joe, and father-in-law have tried to convince sister-in-law to adopt if she wants children so much, but Sarah refuses to listen. She says she doesn't want to raise a kid from the streets, so I guess she wasn't happy when she found out that I had gotten pregnant. I was aware of sister-in-law's personal issue, and it was also one of the reasons why I didn't want to make the announcement in front of everyone, because regardless of my equation with her, I did sympathize as a woman for her condition. When Adam's relatives started to ask about the baby shower and if we knew the baby's gender and such, Sarah burst out crying in front of everyone. She rushed into the washroom and locked herself there. As you can imagine, everyone's mood immediately soured. Adam and mother-in-law begged her to open the door, but Sarah refused. After 30 minutes of them begging, Sarah came out with red puffy eyes. She looked at me directly and told me that I should have talked to her first before making the announcement, since she couldn't have a child of her own. I tried explaining to her that I never intended to make her feel bad, but she ignored me and walked out of the party with Joe. Mother-in-law later chastised me about how selfish I am and how I always make everything about me without caring about other people's feelings. After the party, Adam did apologize to me and assured me that he would talk to my mother-in-law and Sarah and make sure that they would know that this was all his idea. And he never thought the announcement would hurt his sister so much. I still feel bad about Sarah, but my husband assured me that it wasn't my fault at all. The next weekend, when he went to his parents' place for dinner, I stayed behind as usual, since I wanted nothing to do with his family conversations. I have no idea what they talked about, but Adam came back home telling me how he had ended up apologizing to Sarah, since she was really hurt about everything. He recounted how Sarah had shared the emotional toll of her struggles, detailing the countless medical tests and sleepless nights spent in tears for years as he spoke. I couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt, despite the tensions between us. Sarah was still family, and the thought of her suffering weighed heavily on my conscience. I realized that beneath the facade of resentment and animosity, there was a woman who was hurting and in need of compassion. Adam told me how I should reach out to her, and I agreed. I messaged Sarah and apologized to her for not giving her a heads up about my pregnancy before the party. I told her that I wanted to resolve things between us before my twins were born so that we could start fresh as a family. To my surprise, Sarah responded with unexpected warmth and understanding. She thanked me for reaching out and acknowledged her own role in strained relationship between us. She expressed her genuine happiness for my pregnancy and reassured me that she wanted nothing more than to mend our relationship and be supportive during this special time. Sarah offered to throw a baby shower for me when the time came, telling me how she has never had a chance to do it for anyone, so she would love to organize one for me. I graciously agreed. In the months leading up to the baby shower, I noticed that both Sarah and my mother-in-law were unusually kind and sweet to me. They would regularly call me asking about my health and send me flowers with cards that said, "Hope my bear is feeling okay," or "Can't wait to see the twins." It was definitely surprising and a bit unsettling because up until that point, our relationship had been strained, to say the least. Suddenly, both Sarah and my mother-in-law were acting completely out of character, showering me with love. It felt like a sudden shift, and I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that accompanied it. However, I thought maybe they were making an effort to mend things between us before the twins were born. I never imagined there could be anything sinister behind that. Despite my suspicions, I tried to remain optimistic and hoped that maybe we were turning a new leaf as a family. Adam continued to visit his family for dinner every weekend, and everything seemed fine on the surface. On the day of my baby shower, I was surprised to see that Sarah had actually listened to all my suggestions and kept them in mind while organizing the event. The event was everything I had hoped for and more, with friends and family gathered to celebrate the imminent arrival of our twins. Unlike typical baby showers, the men of the family were invited to the event. Also, father-in-law had brought multiple gifts for the twins. We were all having a lot of fun and playing baby shower games throughout the afternoon. Sarah was polite while engaging with the guests and ensuring that everything ran smoothly during the middle of one of our games. I had to excuse myself to go to the washroom after I finished my deed. I was just coming out of the washroom when I heard my husband and mother-in-law furiously arguing in the hallway in hushed tones. Curiosity piqued. I paused for a moment, straining to hear their words. They didn't know I was listening. At first I thought it was just innocent chatter, maybe about baby names or nursery decor, but as I listened closely, my heart sank. Mother-in-law was asking my husband if he had a conversation with me yet regarding their plan with the twins. Adam told her to lower her voice since someone could hear them, but mother-in-law told him that the time was coming near and he needed to man up and talk to me. Adam told her that he was working on it and that it wasn't an easy conversation, and to have mother-in-law then told him that he needed to have this discussion before the twins were born. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to give one of the twins to Sarah on time for her 27th birthday. She told him how he had already agreed to sister-in-law's demands and had no way out since she had been looking forward to getting a child for months now. My eyes widened in shock as I processed these snippets of conversation that I had overheard. My heart raced with a mix of disbelief and growing dread as the gravity of their discussion sunk in. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. They were discussing giving one of our twins away to my sister-in-law as a birthday gift. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like a punch to the gut. I stood there frozen as they continued to talk about their plans, as if it was the most normal thing in the world. My mind raced with a million thoughts and emotions: anger, hurt, sadness, but most of all, betrayal. I had fought. My husband, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law were happy about our pregnancy, about our twins. But now I have realized that their happiness wasn't because of our growing family. It was because of their twisted plan to give away one of our babies. At that moment, I felt like I didn't even know my husband anymore. How could he betray me like this? How could he even consider giving away our child? Our babies were not gifts to be given away. They were our children, our flesh and blood. I waited patiently for them to finish their conversation as I didn't want to be caught, and then I slowly walked out of the bathroom. I was shaking in fear and anger, however, and I held it together as best I could in front of others. Since the baby shower, I have been racking my head to come up with a plan so I can escape this situation as fast as I can. I can't endanger my twins in the future. This family is crazy, and I can't even trust my husband anymore. I want to scream at him every time I see him, but I'm trying to pretend that all is well so I can work on my escape plan. However, because of my pregnancy hormones, I am a bit worried that I will be the a-hole for leaving my husband without even asking for an explanation. I don't mind being a single mother, but should I give the father of my children a chance to explain himself before tearing apart the family? Update 1. Thank you everyone for your advice and suggestions. I read through all the comments and I have made up my mind now. I want to assure you that I will never let anyone take away my baby from me. I have reached out to my best friend of many years and I have asked for her help. She is as shocked as me that my husband could plan such a thing with his family. She has agreed to come and help me move my things so that I can live with her while I file for divorce from my husband. Tonight is the last night I will stay in the same house as Adam, and tomorrow I will leave without a note or an explanation because he doesn't deserve one. Update 2. It's been 2 weeks since my last update. I wanted to update everyone on what has happened since my last post. As I mentioned before, I made the decision to file for divorce from Adam after overhearing his conversation with his mother about their plan regarding our twins. It was a heartbreaking decision, but I knew it was the right one for me and my babies. With the help of my best friend, I gathered all my belongings and left our house while Adam was at work. It was a difficult and emotional moment when I walked out of the doors, as I never imagined a day would come when I would leave my husband. But I know I have to prioritize the safety and well-being of myself and my unborn children. I have since filed for divorce, even though Adam has tried to reach out to me multiple times. I haven't blocked him, as I do want to be cordial to him until the divorce is done. Since Adam has no idea that I overheard him with his mother, he has sent me several text messages accusing me of betraying him and how his family was right all along. I haven't sent him a single explanation because I know no matter what I say, him and his family will try to gaslight and manipulate me. So for now, they can think whatever they want. The truth will come out during the divorce proceedings. I have blocked sister-in-law and mother-in-law, although I do feel a bit guilty about not answering father-in-law's calls. I have no idea whether he was involved in this plan or not, so I can't take any chances. I have spent the last few days just crying while my best friend has sat with me and never left my side. She has assured me that I am not a bad mother for leaving such a man, and has tried to lessen my guilt since I will be a single mother from now on. I plan on going back to work as soon as I can. My best friend who works from home has agreed to babysit my twins when I do join the workforce. However, I have insisted on paying her for her time as babysitting. Twins won't be easy. I know this isn't a solid plan, and I wish I had reliable parents who could help me out in this situation. But unfortunately, I don't. Also, my best friend will only help me look after the kids until I can get my divorce from Adam. So then with the child support, I can hire a proper nanny. I know it won't be easy, but I am determined to create a safe and loving environment for my twins. I am grateful for the support and encouragement I have received from all of you during this challenging time. Update 3. Hello everyone. It's been 6 months since my last update. A lot of things have happened since then. First of all, I have given birth already, and now I am the proud mother of my beautiful twins, Jackson and Vinny. I was so nervous before giving birth, but the moment I held my beautiful twins in my arms for the first time, all of my worries melted away. They are my everything, and I am glad that I took them away from that crazy family. My divorce from Adam was finalized, and despite his pleading, he was not granted custody of the children. He did find out during the proceeding exactly why I had left him, and he was shocked that I had found out about his plan. He tried to apologize, to explain himself, telling me how he was compelled and pressured by his family every day and how he had no choice. I was further disappointed with his cowardice. It turns out the father-in-law didn't know about everything, and although he had tried to dissuade sister-in-law, mother-in-law, no one had listened to him. I'm so disgusted by this family that I have felt no remorse since divorcing Adam. I didn't ask for a single penny for alimony, but he has agreed to pay a hefty amount for child support, which will be enough for me to provide the best for my children. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law did try to get in touch with me and even showed up during the divorce proceedings, screaming and yelling at me for taking away the twins from them. They told me how they could have provided my children with everything and that I was a bad mother for being so selfish. In the end, they had to be restrained by the gods. I'm glad that they embarrassed themselves publicly because it helped me get a restraining order against them. Since the divorce, Adam has tried to remain in touch with me, pleading for a chance to talk and reconcile. But I can never trust him again around my children. With the help of my best friend and a supportive network of friends and family, I've been able to navigate the challenges of single parenthood these past few months. Recently, I have made the decision to move out of the city entirely, and I want to create a fresh start for myself and my children, far away from the toxicity and manipulation of Adam's family. I know as long as I live in the same city, they might try to get in touch with my twins, and I don't want that with full custody of my twins. I have the freedom to build a new life wherever I choose, and I intend to make the most of that opportunity. Moving forward, I'm going to be focused on myself and my babies, so there will be no further updates.